Hey, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 357.
Yes.
Welcome back to another week and another episode of the Big Blue Box. Hope you're keeping well and safe. We hope you've had a cracking week and that you've managed to do something Doctor Who related.
He's changed it up.
Another week, but weather's a bit up and down. Sounds very British, but yeah.
It's been scorching, isn't it? Until today.
Yeah, usual British UK shenanigans to deal with the weather. Yes, but I hope you are keeping well, dear Big Blue Box listener. We've got a fairly light show this week. Still nothing cracking with the news. Yeah. Not much going on, bud, is there? Still a bit light. I've seen a few little rumours and bits and bobs doing the rounds. There's, I think there's a pop geek culture website called comicbook.com, and they put an article out the other day saying that there's more classic characters being brought back into the new era of Doctor Who, but they don't know quite what yet. And there's another article, around similar lines, like some other characters that are coming back and all the rest of it. But nobody can really say who they are. It's one of those clickbaity things. It's like our sources tell us that, these characters are coming back, but we can't tell you. It's like, yeah, whatever. So there's not much in the way of get your teeth into news, bud. It's quiet again.
It is quiet. I see there's something about a Doctor Who T-shirt that Ryan Gosling has been pictured in. It was an unofficial piece of artwork that someone did, and then some nasty person stole it and the artwork and put it on a T-shirt, and then somehow Ryan Gosling's ended up wearing this unofficial T-shirt with someone else's artwork on. And I think the only reason I mention it is because I think it's like that Russell retweeted it or posted it because Ryan Gosling was wearing Shooty on a T-shirt, and it's supporting our new Doctor. So that's now become a thing. And I think the nice thing about this is that artist has actually reclaimed his artwork and is now selling the T-shirts himself for a charity. So it's all kind of worked out well, even though the BBC, even though they reposted his post, then had his T-shirt taken down for copyright, but it's back up, and it's all been a bit of a nightmare. But the reason I mentioned this is because I think what I've read from that is that Shooty is filming with Ryan Gosling on some film or something, or TV show, I don't know. So he's still not filming Doctor Who, I take it.
Do you know what, dude? I think it's some ridiculous bloody film based on Barbie or something.
Barbie?
Ryan Gosling's Ken or something like that. I don't know, mate.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Ryan
Gosling, Barbie film, 2023. Yep, there's an official film about Barbie, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. One can assume, rightly or wrongly, that he's going to be Ken. And, our new Doctor, I think, is also in there too. Yeah, he is, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he stars at... Oh, God. So, yes, Ryan Gosling is... I'm reading it now, dude. Margot Robbie is Barbie.
Right.
Ryan Gosling is Ken. And Shooty is cast as another Ken.
Another Ken? Ken. Right.
Yeah.
Blimey.
There you go.
Well, this is going to be the summer blockbuster then, obviously.
Pre-booking tickets
I didn't know
for
it was
that.
for Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Anyway.
Okay. So we can take it from that then that Shooty's still got a long way to go before he starts filming any scenes for Doctor Who.
Yes.
I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Okay. So before we crack on with the rest of the show, you went scouting for some Doctor Who stuff. Not on our shores, didn't you? Didn't you find some cool little...
Well, I didn't go over there specifically, but
you did.
I didn't even... I'd forgotten they did them, but my partner had a business trip over in Dusseldorf last week for 4 days, so I tagged along, as you do. I've never been to Germany, so... And so while he was in his business meeting doing, earning the big bucks, I went out and explored Dusseldorf, and I ended up in a shopping centre. He's like got the whole of Dusseldorf to explore, but, and ended up in a shopping centre. And I thought, I always go and have a look to see if they got any Doctor Who DVDs, because I just like the different covers and stuff. And I'd forgotten that in Germany, they have these, I think they're called media books. They're like special editions of the Blu-rays. And so there was this whole shelf of them, and you can imagine my eyes lit up. I was like, wow, oh gosh, what are these? And I recognised the style straight away. So yeah, I was taking pictures and posting them, and because some of the titles are quite funny as well. The translations were totally different to like the UK titles. The one I wanted though, they didn't have, and every time we went anywhere, I tried to find a shop to see if I could find it. I wanted the TV movie one because it's just called Der Film. Der Film, DER Film. And I thought, oh yeah, I'd like that, and the artwork on it's really cool. But it was like the one that I couldn't find anywhere, which was annoying. But yeah, they were pretty cool. And I think, so you've got like a Seventh Doctor coffee table box set book, which is a German release, and I have a feeling it's the same company. I'm not too sure, because that's got great artwork, isn't it? But is it inside, is it English text or is it German? Or
it's English text.
Is it? Oh, maybe it's a different company then.
So the company that made the box set that I got is called Panda Storm, and
right, okay.
So they that special edition set, as you mentioned, it's weird because on the front it's in German, which is weird, but then the nice big booklet that comes inside and everything, that's in English. And I think the text on the discs is German, I think. So it's like a weird hybrid of German and English. I think the titles in the book are English and then German, and then the text is I don't know, but it's kind of weird. But I know the media book sets you're talking about, and do you know what, dude? I really like the artwork as well. I don't know which company or artist did them, but they do look very, very cool. The one I'm looking at some of them now. The really good one is. What's this? What's the translation into English? Die Rache der Cybermen. What's that?
Revenge of the Cybermen.
Revenge of the Cybermen. There you go.
Yeah.
That looks very cool. That one. Some great artwork. They had
that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy some because I was just curious, like what they were like inside. Because you can see there's like a little booklet in the middle of it. Obviously, they're all sealed up. So, but the thing is, the price is really varied. So some of them were like €14.99, which works out about 12-13 quid. Not too bad. But most of them were like 34 or 49 euros. But they were all 2-disc or 3-disc sets, and I couldn't work out why the price varied so much. And I had no idea. I mean, I just don't know. Are they in? Can you watch them in English? Are they dubbed? I don't know what they are. So I just went with. I bought one just to bring home and see what it's like. And I opened it yesterday, and it's really nice actually. And I kind of wish I'd bought a couple more now because the packaging alone is worth the price. It's so nicely put together. But I bought the Visitation just because I really liked the cover. It was one of the cheap ones, so I thought I'll get a cheap one just to see. But it's got like a special booklet, and it has, like you said, it's a bit of a hybrid. It's got like English and German text in it. But I think the booklet has been somehow put together with Matthew Waterhouse. I think he's done the text for it, so it's like quite exclusive to that set. And yeah, I really wish I'd bought. They had Black Orchid, which was the other one I was considering getting because that was another cheap one. And I kind of wish I'd bought the two now because I don't know how nice they were. I wish I'd opened it out there, but we were so busy going around looking at cathedrals and goodness knows what else in Cologne and places like that. I didn't really get a chance to open it till I got back, But yeah, nice sets. If I ever go out there again, I might grab a couple more because, like you said, the artwork's really cool on them.
They are cool, yeah. And there's a really good one as well. Somebody tweeted it ages ago. I can't remember who it was, but it was the Web of Fear one, which is like it's the media books that you were looking at, like all the others, but it's I think it's slightly more expensive. It's a special edition one, and it had the camera script in there for episode 1, and it had a signed poster, and it's got these other newspaper cuttings out of when the episode went out in the press reviews in Germany and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that artwork is Lee Binding, I think. It looks like Lee. Anyway, yeah, so they do some wonderful stuff, man. I mean, I'm not going to complain too much because we have the really nice Blu-ray special edition box sets here and all that stuff. But yeah, these individual releases in the media books, they do look pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah, if I ever end up go back out Germany again, I'll definitely grab a couple more. They're really nice. Talking of the Blu-ray books, Blu-ray box sets, have you been watching any of your season 22? Because I've been working my way through that quite nicely, actually, in my spare time. Yeah,
do you know what, dude? That's a really nice set, that one. Have you seen many of the special features yet?
So I've watched all the Behind the Sofas, which were great. I particularly like Wendy Mabry. I think she's genuinely shocked by some of the violence in the series, because I suppose she'll be sort of in her mind comparing it to the nice genteel era that she was from, you know, with Pat. And yeah, probably, I mean, even I think it's quite violent for the time. So yeah, they've been great fun to watch, and Peter Davison's hilarious on them. He's turned into such a, in brackets, grumpy old man. You know, he's sort of kind of almost playing up to that thing now of just being grumpy, but in a funny way. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's just cracked. There was one bit where he cracked up laughing, and just him laughing made me laugh. If you know what I mean? It's just like he was laughing at how bad something looked. Those Behind the Sofas are great. I've watched
wasn't there on this one? There's quite a few of them.
Yeah. I've watched the interview with Colin, which is one of the best with Matthew Sweet. That was so good. And there was so much about Colin that I didn't know, which I learnt for that interview. Really, really good one. I watched the Michael Grade interview with Matthew Sweet the other day.
The special guest one.
Yeah, have you watched that yet?
Not the Michael Grade one, no. No, I've watched the Nicola Bryant and the Colin Baker one, but...
I haven't watched Nicola Bryant yet.
Yeah, the Michael Grade one I've yet to watch, but is it interesting?
I don't know. Is it? Well, yes and no. Yes, it was quite an interesting watch, because I think Matthew Sweet just sort of keeps going, you know, because Michael Grade, he's all right once he settles in, but to begin with, he's a bit like, it's a bit of a sort of 2-word answers. And so Matthew Sweet sort of almost keeps asking him the same thing to try and get to the nitty gritty. He does come across as a quite smug, really, Michael Grade. But I mean, I don't know. Yes, I did enjoy it. But did I learn much from it? I don't know. I still think he's quite guarded, and some of his answers towards the end didn't quite add up. Like when Matthew Sweet said, well, you can't hate it that much because it continued for 3 more years. And Michael Grade sort of almost is in denial. He's like, no, it didn't. No, it ended when I stopped it. And Matthew Sweet's like, no, we got a new doctor and it carried on under your watch for 3 more years. And Michael Grade sort of keep sort of shaking his head as if, no, I don't think so. No, I don't think that happened. You know, so it is quite an interesting watch. Yeah. And Matthew Sweet's very good on it, I have to say. But yeah, the extras on it are brilliant. I've been watching all the special features. I haven't watched any of the actual episodes yet, but then I've seen them before. But there is a couple of extended versions of the episodes on there, I think. There
are, yes. We've got extended editions, haven't we, for the 2 Doctors and...
Yeah. Varos,
I think. Yes.
Yeah, which I find very hard going anyway, so not sure I'm too bothered. But yeah, I will get around to watching the episodes at some point. But yeah, you've cracked the seal on yours, have you? You watched a few bits?
Yes, I've watched the making of and the 2 Doctors, which is very cool. I've watched those 2 interviews with Colin and Nicola and the Behind the Sofa. So that's as far as I've got so far. So I've got that Michael Grade interview to watch, and then our listener will know, there's plethora of other special features and stuff to crack on with. I'm looking forward to checking out this new mini episode, The Eternal Mystery again. Have you seen? That's the
no, what's that then?
Yeah, so it's I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like a brand new little mini episode that was filmed, which looks rather good. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I also like, they've done this with some of the other sets where they just drag out a load of stuff from the archives, like old interviews and little snippets and radio bites and images and stuff. So that's quite fun to dive back into all that stuff. So yeah, a little bit into it, but a bit more to go. It's a really nice set, this one though.
It's a great set, I have to say. And I've said it before, not my favourite season by a long chalk, but I'm really enjoying going through in it. And the location, there's a thing where Colin and Nicola go back and visit the locations from sort of all the stories of that. I really enjoyed that. That is great because they sort of bring out Graham Harper out of a TARDIS and stuff, and yeah, that was great fun. It is, you can tell. So as with all of these sets so far, we're really spoiled. There's a lot of work and love gone into them. Yeah, it's really, really enjoyable. So like I said last week, I'm trying to savor it and not just watch everything all in one go, because it is nice just to indulge in it. But yeah, it's a great stuff.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Wonder what the next set's going to be.
Yeah, come on, BBC.
Yeah, I'm not even finished watching this stuff yet, and already it's like, so when's the next one coming?
Maybe they're on the phone saying to Russell, we can't change the logo on the box sets, Russell, because people are going to go mad.
Yeah, true. Yep.
Like
Right, so bit of Blu-ray DVD shopping, a bit of all that. No news to go through. Before we get on to our review of Torchwood for this week, please make sure that you follow and subscribe to this podcast in your preferred podcast app. We put a new episode out every single Friday. And we also have a website, the Big Blue Box Podcast, which is bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of the episodes on there for free. Plus, you can link off to the socials that we're on. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can come and get involved. Give us a like and a follow over there. We chat Doctor Who throughout the week. And we also have a free Discord server. So hop in there and chat Doctor Who with lots of other very cool Who fans. Also, don't forget to remember to check out my co-host channel over on YouTube. It is, of course, The Geek's Handbag. The Geek's Handbag, yeah. I'm working on a couple of nice little videos at the minute. Got a nice little review vid in the pipeline. So, yeah, go and check out my channel. But there's lots on there already for you to dive into and watch as well. Indeedy, yes. Right. Before we crack on with our review, we've got a little bit of a surprise for everyone. Surprise. Yes. So one of our listeners from back in the day, I'll tell you his name afterwards, has come across an old friend of ours. Oh, yes. So, yes, those who have listened to the podcast for a while will know that, I can't remember how long it was ago now, but we used to do Merch Corner. We used to do a merch roundup. And it's not Dalek Tat. We had an assistant that used to help us out. And, he was always complaining, never, ever happy. So we kicked him out. We said, there you go, then if you're that unhappy, then bugger off. And he went, never to be seen again. But someone has caught up with him.
No, not that switch. Do either of you have the faintest idea of the position you put me in? I picked up your former Dalek pet after he was skulking about on some desolate rock. I thought it would be an amusing distraction, but now he refuses to leave my TARDIS. I said not that switch. Try the panel to your left. I can see why you got rid of him. Oh, you stupid tin can. You've just blasted the console monitor. Right, that's it. I'm taking you back to Scaro. I don't care if you were exiled. Ta-ta for now, my dears, but I'll return soon. The Master always comes back.
He's still out there.
He's still out there with the Master.
He's now with the Master. He's defected. Duo. Yeah, he's defected over. Oh dear. What a little bugger. So yeah, that was sent in by one of our listeners that used to send in reviews all the time. It's obviously been busy for a while. That was Aaron Lamb. Don't know if you know that name. Yes, I remember that name. Yeah, so we used to do his reviews and stuff. So thank you very much, Aaron, for taking the time. That's not your normal everyday just audio snippet sent in to us. So we will keep tabs on what's going on with Dalek Tat as he I imagine the Master's just completely fed up with him already, like we were. I would think so. Yeah, little bugger. Anyway, the Adventures of Dalek Tat. That could be a new weekly adventure. Yes, or monthly adventure. Yeah. So in a way, it's good that he's still knocking about. I'd hate to think that he was blown up by some Tyrant ship somewhere or evaporated by some. So he's grumpy, but glad he's doing all right. Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. I like that. Cheers, Aaron. Thank you very much, buddy. Right. And with that, dude, what we're reviewing this week?
Yeah, so this week we're moving on to Torchwood Miracle Day. This is episode 4, and it's called Escape to LA.
Let me ask you something. What is this dead is dead shit?
Dead is dead.
Dead is dead. That's me, huh?
We are surrounded by people who should have died, and by persisting, they are draining the resources of healthy, living citizens.
There's one thing you've got to sort out, okay, and that's my dad.
But he's safe enough, Gwen.
I don't want to live forever, especially like this.
I have risen with unending life.
These living deceased should not have equal rights.
You've compromised the security of the entire mission.
What? Can you hear me?
Because I believe their passage to the afterlife has been paused. And when this miracle ends, death will find them. So sorry. Their time will come, and they will die.
Ooh, it's picking up a bit of pace now.
Dead is dead.
So, Escape to LA. This is episode 4 of Miracle Day, and it was first broadcast here in the UK on the 4th of August, 2011, and our US friends got it a week early. They got it on 29th of July of the same year. It was written by, so they divided it into 2 for this, because it's slightly more Americanized sort of thing. So the story was written by Jim Gray, and then the teleplay was written by Jim Gray and John Shiban, and it was directed by Billy Gearhart, which I think directed the last one as well. So we have the usual team. We've got John Barrowman, Eve Miles. We've got Mekhi Phifer, who's Rex in this. We have Alexa Havins, who plays Esther. And we have Bill Pullman as Oswald Danes. And Kai Owen is back this week as Reese, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And the synopsis for this one is: Torchwood follow Phi Corp to California to continue the fight, but walk straight into a trap. Elsewhere, Oswald Danes and Jilly Kitzinger face off against their own adversaries. Right, so we're nearly halfway through, bud. Episode 4. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I didn't mind this one. I still don't think it was great, but it did at least have some stuff going on that kept my interest a little bit more this week. So, like you said, a bit more progression, just a little bit more happening this week, which was good to see. It felt a little bit more like the sort of Torchwood we know and love. So there's a bit, people getting tied up and getting saved at the last minute and breaking into buildings and the whole, pretending to be American to get in. So there was stuff going on this week, which was enough to keep me going. Because obviously up to this point, I've been kind of struggling with Miracle Day. It's not really gripped me. But so this is a step in the right direction. It was nice to have a change of scenery. I thought it was really cool when they went to LA and we got those nice shots on the beach. I mean, John Barrowman must have been baking in that coat. He must have been at 100-degree heat, and he stood there in full, Captain Jack outfit. So yeah, there was a few good moments I thought this week. Nothing special, nothing stand out. Just still sort of edging towards some sort of revelation of who's behind all this and what it's all about. But there's a few more little breadcrumbs thrown in, which I picked up, and I liked that. The stuff with Dane was fairly interesting as well. The fact that his already people are bored of him and they found someone new to follow. And I like the fact that put his nose out of joint, so he had to do something about it. So yeah, there's a little bit more going on this week. I think this is sort of a step in the right direction. And yeah, although nothing special, it was, it was an okay watch.
I read you. I'm along the same lines, I think, as usual.
Yeah.
I think it was an okay watch. I think, to be honest with you, though, I quite like this one more than I did last week.
Oh, yeah, same.
Yeah.
I liked it more than last week.
Yes. Normally when we discussed this last week, I think as well, is that normally when you get to the middle of a series, especially if it's a more of a US-based production, they typically do these mid-season sort of breaks with like a mid-season kind of build-up and a little cliffhanger sort of thing. Remember they tried that with Series 7, I think, here, with Matt Smith's series. They tried that here, it didn't really work. But so normally when you get to the episode just before that, so this one, that's normally the padded filler type of episode. And then next week, or sorry, the week after next when we review episode 5, that's typically like the big, oh my God, this is like the big mid-season thing that's happened, which is the shock sort of thing. And then, so we'll see what happens there. But because of that, I'm quite surprised. I honestly thought this one was going to be more filler, a bit boring, a bit slow-paced, and just, not much going on. But it was actually all right. I actually didn't mind this one, and it was it had a bit more. This series as a whole so far, anyway, doesn't feel like Torchwood as we know it. But some of the things that happen and some of the scenes in this, it did feel like it was almost back to Torchwood of old in some way, where people just sort of got into action and did their thing. And I think it helped as well that Reese was back, because he provides just a lovely bit of... and you can see, dude, that him and Gwen are still so into each other, can't you? Because there's a few scenes where he's on the phone to her and he's giving her an update about her dad and what's going on with the baby and stuff. And she can't help but smile. She's really trying to focus and concentrate on the job. You know, she's in the middle of something and then he'll say something and then big beaming smile. And then she'll just like reset back to job mode. And so that's all lovely. So I think having him back and them two being like that felt like more kind of last series Torchwood a little bit. And also although we didn't get much in the way of story progression, like the overall arc, we're still none the wiser on who they are, quote unquote. But it was kind of cool. There was some action stuff. It felt a bit James Bondy, a bit Mission Impossible-esque kind of thing going on, where they infiltrate the building and they go up to the server room and there's this assassin guy that's after them. It does feel kind of cool. Yeah, I didn't mind it at all, dude.
No, I think, and like you said, I'm hoping now, because obviously at the end of this one, the guy who's tied them up is just about to say the name of who's behind it or something, and they get shot in the throat, which is quite a sort of funny scene. So I felt like, okay, so are we actually building up to finding out who's behind all this? Are we sort of getting to that halfway point? And that's what I'm hoping, that this was quite a nice build-up episode. I'm hoping, like you've just said, episode 5, next week is the sort of mid-series, revelation. We're going to get something big to draw us in for the second half of the series. That's what I'm hoping, because this sort of felt like it was leading up to that a little bit, I thought. And the other thing that made it feel a little bit like the Torchwood we know and love was it had a bit more humour this week, but humour that landed. So I think we've had a few clunky bits of humour in the first couple of episodes that didn't really work. This week I felt like there was just nice simple humour that actually was quite fun. So there were fun scenes this week which helped to make the episode more enjoyable. So like Gwen totally playing down the fact that she's on this gorgeous beach, when she's on the phone to Reese, and he's like, you're enjoying it. She's like, no, I'm not. No, it's horrible here. And he's like, I just heard a seagull, and all this sort of stuff. So there were fun moments like that, which I think have been a bit lacking up until this point. So that makes this a better episode, I think. And what was the other bit where she's made me laugh? I can't think now. But there was a couple of nice little moments anyway. But yeah, it just, like you said, the action scenes as well were a bit more, there was a bit more excitement this week. And I liked all the stuff when they were trying to catch, when they were playing that couple, they were trying to capture the guy's retina scan. Yeah. There were fun scenes this week, which it's really been needing stuff like that, I think. Yeah,
you're absolutely right, dude. Yeah. Definitely.
Gwen's awful American accent when she said, I'm never doing that again. Just stuff, little moments like that just help make it more fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there was, I think that was also what made it a bit more of an enjoyable watch, because I think up to now, it's taken itself really seriously.
Yeah.
It's been very, I don't know, although Children of Earth had that real matureness to it and that seriousness, it felt like that was with purpose, because we were in on what was kind of happening relatively early on in that story. Whereas this one, because we don't know who's causing this whole thing and who's behind it and who's who sent the assassin and that stuff, we're kind of relying on the character progression and these new people, how they interact with Jack and Gwen and so on, to kind of carry that a little bit, because they're not giving anything away with story, not really. We know about Phi Corp, who is this kind of pharmaceutical coming across at the minute like this kind of sinister player in the game. And we've also got this PA, this PA woman, Jilly Kitzinger, who's kind of manipulating things, and she's just in it for the press glory, it looks like, with Danes and so on. So there's a little bit of those things that are very slowly prodding along, but nothing's really given away. So in a good move, I think we actually got a little bit more progression with those other characters, because we know Jack and Gwen inside out by now. Anyone that's watched Torchwood from the very beginning up until this point, we know them very well, so that's all good. The thing with Rex is that he was very standoffish about his dad being in LA where they were. So Esther presses him a little bit. She's like, I went through your file, says that you got family here, and he kicks off and all that. And then he kind of gives in, doesn't he? He's like, goes to see his dad. That's obviously not very good, that relationship. So we know a bit about that. And then we see Esther, who's trying to protect the kids that are in, I think it's her sister's kids, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And so she's worried about them. Something's obviously going on with her sister. She reports them to childcare. They get taken away, but now they're in some kind of weird foster system and all that, and she's breaking down over it. So that was very cool to see a little bit of extra background to those two, which was good. And I think that made the story a little bit more, I wouldn't say bit more interesting to see what's going on, I think, with that. And I think because those things cause them to have emotional reactions and stuff, that then makes their reactions with Jack and Gwen a bit more real, if that makes sense. It's not just flying off the handle for the sake of it. It's not just the odd swear word for the sake of it and stuff. So yeah, for that reason alone, not much story, but the character stuff I really appreciated and liked what they did with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm finally warming towards Esther a little bit, because she's just been a bit bland up until this point. So I'm sort of warming towards her. She seems quite sort of sensitive, if you like. Rex, I'm sort of going the other way. He's really starting to get on my wick, to be honest. He's just too bolshy, and I wish they'd just mellow him out a little bit and make him a bit more likable, because although, like you just said, it was nice to get a bit of character progression this week, they're still not feeling like a proper team to me yet. So for me, Jack and Gwen are still very much carrying the story, and they have the best scenes. They don't seem to be gelling as a team, these four, yet. It still feels to me like it's Jack and Gwen and Rex and Esther. You've got two sort of separate divides there. So I'm hoping at some point they'll come together a little bit more. But yeah, I'm warming towards Esther, but Rex is really, I mean, when he went to see his dad, and he's just so angry all the time, they need to sort of chill him out a little bit, I think, because he's getting on my wick, to be honest. I mean, it was quite fun at the end when he shoots, he's running up the steps and he gets there just in time to save Jack and Gwen, and he shoots the guy, and he's like, oh, anybody going to say thanks? And they're like, yeah, oh, you idiot, you should have, we were just about to find out, so that was fun, but yeah, I'm not digging Rex at the minute. He's getting on my nerves a bit. He's too bolshy for my liking. And yeah, if he's going to be sort of a major part of Torchwood, then he needs to be a bit more likable, because I think that's the thing that's slightly missing from this series at this point, is likable characters. Esther's kind of getting there. I kind of like her, but she's a bit wet, she needs to toughen up a bit. But yeah, apart from that, there aren't any other likable characters in this, and I think that's something I'm struggling with. So yeah, I sort of want to like Rex, but I don't. He just gets on my nerves at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, he is very angry all the time. You can tell that there's something behind the scenes with him that's making him be that way, because I'm sure there's a word for it, buddy. I'm sure there's some kind of psychological label for that. I don't know what it is, like a sociopath or I don't know. There's a word for it somewhere, because he goes from being really affectionate and loving towards somebody, like the doctor that he's kind of involved with, it feels like.
Yeah, that's
and there's some history there. Yeah. It feels like, so him and Vera, they kind of have this back and forth, it seems like. So when he's on the phone to her, when they get to LA, he's like, look, you've probably got contacts here, you can hook me up with some, unofficially with some medication and everything. And there's some flirty bants, and it's all good. But then he goes from that to the next second, like being really, like there's a scene where he's in a van outside the Fire Court building while Jack and Gwen are infiltrating and doing that stuff. And she's really dealing with stuff, her phone's going off and he's going bonkers at her. He's like, this is all your fault. Really, really horrible to her. And then the next minute he's just killed someone, and he's just run up 60 flights of stairs, and his chest is bleeding all over the place, and he's cracking jokes, and he's like, thanks, you know all that. So he's
the tone.
Yeah, so he's flitting between being very sort of angry at the world, so there's definitely something there that we might not have seen just yet. Maybe they'll explore that a bit more, his relationship with his father or something like that. Not quite sure, but still can't quite connect with him as a character just yet, I don't think. Like you said, he's still a little bit on the annoying side and a bit abrasive for the sake of it feels like. But it's what did you think to the Doctor then? Because as part of her character in this episode, we get this reveal, don't we, that the government, not just in the US, but they did it they start to do it here in the UK with Gwen's dad. That we find out at the end of the episode is that they're setting up these camps, quote unquote, where they're basically sending all of the sick people, it looks like, just to be confined in this big bubble of illness and stuff. It's pretty horrific. So she obviously sees that firsthand, and she's not happy about it. But that was, I think that was the only other nugget of story progression that we got outside of the character stuff. But she was kind of cool in this one. Vera, she's still quite firm, putting her foot down with everything. There's a scene later on, isn't there, when she's in a doctor's or operating robes, whatever, and she's kicking off everyone like, that shouldn't be there, blah blah blah. She's going mad. So she's a strong character. She's quite cool.
Yeah, she's definitely got potential, I think, and I like the fact she's sort of in the midst of it, but not part of our main Torchwood team. So that sort of makes it slightly more interesting, I think. Yeah, she's quite, like you said, a good character, and I'm not sure what's going on with her and Rex, but I like there's a link there to sort of bridge the two sort of stories, if you like. So I think she's working quite well in terms of the story at the minute. Yeah, she's cool.
And I think we're going to wrap this review fairly quick, buddy, because there isn't really nothing. Although it was an enjoyable watch and everything, like we said, it was it was more enjoyable than last week, that's for sure. But nothing really happened again substantially enough that we could get our teeth sunk into anything, like when we review Doctor Who or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff, and we could probably spend hours on an episode, reviewing Doctor Who and stuff. But so other than them traveling to LA, setting up camp, the new Torchwood sort of base, and really sort of the mission, I guess, for this episode was to infiltrate Phi-Corp and just find out exactly what's going on from their end. Alongside that, this guy has been hired to assassinate them, but he's kind of taken it upon himself to find out a bit more as to why, because he knows that it's a fruitless effort, it's a pointless job, because nobody can die. So yet he's been paid to kill them, knowing full well that he can't kill them. So he's kind of taken it upon himself to find out why. And he kind of knows a bit about Jack as well, doesn't he? He knows a bit about
seems to know that,
Jack's backstory. And then that's it. That's kind of the story for the episode. So what did you think to the Oswald Danes part of it then? Because that's a bit more of a human side of things. So he's basically the bad guy, isn't he? He's the convicted paedophile that has been released somehow, some loophole in the system. Now he's this media celebrity, and he's up against a bit of a rival now. So there's a woman who's hogging all the limelight, taking away his media spots and everything. And then he makes that big gesture towards the end of the episode where he goes into the hospital. No one else will go in there because everyone's bloody ill. Takes off his mask, says, "I'm supportive of you guys. You're like I'm one of you. I'm one of the normal people," sort of thing. And that everyone goes bonkers, and Jilly goes bonkers because the ratings are going to go up and all the rest of it. So his character's still lingering around. What do you think to him?
Yeah, I'm so conflicted with that character, because I thought that was one of the better scenes in the episode, when it's quite interesting the way that how quickly people have sort of moved on to somebody else. What's that woman's name? The one that's sort of taken all the press away from him. She meets quite a horrific end, doesn't she? She gets put in a car and crushed, and then you get this zoom in shot to the car, and you just see an eyeball moving inside. So that was horrific. I thought, really horrible. So whatever her name is, because I tried to catch it a few times, and I couldn't hear what they were saying because it was like a double-barreled name. I did try and write it down. Anyway, her. So that was quite an interesting scene. I thought she's getting all the media press. Jilly says to Dane, you're kind of losing it now. You're yesterday's news. So he has to act. And so he walks in, does that speech with the patients, picks up the baby. And I thought, this is quite a good scene. This is quite something's actually happening in the story, and I quite like it. But the other side of that is I just cannot get my head around the fact that anybody would side with him when he's a murdering paedophile. I don't think anybody who'd done that could find any sort of redemption with like your everyday person. So I can't, although I like what's going on in the story in terms of how he's trying to save himself, I just can't buy into it because I don't think anybody would. I think if you were there, even if you were ill and dying, and one guy does kind of stand up and say, I know who you are, and you think, oh, they're going to turn on him, but they don't. They sort of seem to cheer him and accept him, and I just don't think people would. I can't imagine anybody, that'd be like, I don't know. I was going to say the JS name, who did a lot of work with hospitals. That'd be like him walking back in and saying, I'm going to save you all, and people being okay with it. I just don't think they would. They'd throw him out. So it was a good scene. I thought it was a powerful scene, but I just don't quite buy into it because I don't think people would back Dane no matter what. After what he's done, I just can't imagine anybody but a complete weirdo would follow or support him. So I'm struggling with that side of the storyline. I can't believe it. Nobody would. I don't think. So I like the story. I just wish, I don't know. I just don't think they should have made him. Maybe, I don't know. I just don't think anybody would support a murdering paedophile no matter what they did. To be honest, but it was a good scene though. You know what I mean? The way he takes control. It was a good scene in the episode.
Yes. Yeah, it was. And that woman you're referring to was Ellis Hartley Monroe.
That's what I was trying. I knew it's like a 3-barrel note. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a goner, right? She's mincemeat.
Well,
right.
Yeah, that was horrific, wasn't it? The little eyeball just moving in the compacted car. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, she gets mulched. Love that word. She gets mulched in the car. And
I found that really uncomfortable to watch, actually. It reminds me of because I hated it. Do you remember in the old Superman film when he got put in the crusher? I hated that as a kid. There's something about a car crusher. And so when I found this scene really uncomfortable to watch. It just reminded me of that. I was sort of waiting for it to burst out like he did, when you see Superman rising out and bending the metal back, but no.
Well, we did have actually on the subject of Oswald Danes, we only had we had two little moments, didn't we, where you could see under the veil of media, showbiz rubbish, and all the rest of it. So Jilly, who's the PR woman, who's handling his side of things with the media and everything, and setting all of his interviews up and all that stuff. We have that one scene where she goes to his hotel room and he's acting really weird as well. He's like taking bottle tops off.
Yeah, what's that about?
Yeah,
that's weird.
Very weird. Anyway, she comes in and she's talking to him in her usual, BS around media and all that stuff. And then her face sort of turns and her voice lowers a bit. And she's like, to be honest with you, the only bit of you that I can't look at is your hands because I know what they did. So that's a dark little moment. And you think, oh, God. But then she snaps out of it and all the rest of it. And then the other bit is that scene we were just talking about in the hospital at the end where that old guy's like, I know who you are. I know who you really are. All the rest of it. But then that only elevates his sort of applause even more, if you like, because he goes the extra mile and takes his mask off. And he's like, risks getting ill and all the other illnesses that are around him and stuff. So, yeah, he's an interesting one. And I still don't know. I think earlier on in the episode, we do get a little bit of foreshadowing from Jack. He kind of tells the others and also us as the viewer, I think, as he's looking at the projector on the wall, someone says to him, "Oh, you're still obsessed with that guy," sort of thing. And he's like,
yeah, Gwen says, yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, things are happening around this guy. Like some reason, like things are circling around him and it's going to come to a point, blah, blah, blah. So I think something's definitely going to happen with him, you know, within the next, I don't know, couple of episodes. I think something's on the cards for him. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. And we've spoken about the scene with sort of the climatic scene where Rex runs up the stairs, shoots the dude. Sad taste, you know, of all the odds, you know, when you're going to shoot somebody, it's normally, that's why people wear bulletproof vests, right? You normally shoot them in the chest, or, you know, failing that, it's the legs or whatever. So as a cruel twist of irony, even if he had shot the guy 50 times in the chest or the legs, he'd still be able to talk because nobody can die. But he ends up shooting him in the bloody throat. So he's not going to be able to to talk about it. So,
ridiculous.
But so that was a fun sort of end to that sort of tense build up, if you like, because you didn't know, like, is he going to slit her throat, Gwen's throat? You didn't know. So yeah. And that's all I've got on the episode, but I haven't really got any other notes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, your video feed cut out there. That's why there was a pause. you froze for a second. Yeah, no, it was a good climax. It was a good end to the episode, I thought. And then obviously with Gwen's dad being taken, it's a fairly sort of decent cliffhanger, I suppose. But it's nice that I like the fact we're still going back to Wales, you know, with Reese and stuff. I'm glad we're still having those scenes because I think it brings it back to sort of, you know what, brings it back home, if you like, and feels a bit more Torchwoody having those characters in it. So, yeah. But it's quite a cool little ending, I thought.
Yes, it was. Anything on your notes, dude? Because I've run out.
Oh, you've run out. No, I don't think so, mate. I'm just having a quick flick. No, I don't think I've got anything else to say on this one particularly. It was like you said, I was worried, I was sort of dreading watching it in a way because I normally read our listeners' feedback after I've watched the episode, but for some reason I read it before I watched it, and we're going to obviously move on to those in a minute, but they, you know, most of them were saying that this was, you know, a totally forgettable and real filler, so I was really dreading watching it this week. So I was in a way pleasantly surprised. As I said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't the sort of slog that I was expecting. It definitely had more promise this week, and it definitely had more entertainment this week. So it's given me a bit of hope for the rest of the series. I'm hoping that the next step will give us some real meat. You know, we need a bit of juice on the bones next week. I think we really do. We're going to be halfway through this series. They got to give us something, I think, to keep us going from here on. But this is definitely pushing me in the right direction rather than me feeling like I want to give up. Like, I think after last week's, I was a bit like, you know, I was struggling. Whereas this week, it's given me a little bit more to think about, and I'm sort of up for carrying on. But yeah, next week's got to deliver something, I feel. The next episode, rather, not next week, but next episode. It's got to deliver something.
Yes. Yeah, no, I totally agree, dude. But also, yeah, like you, pleasantly surprised that it moved in a direction that was fairly positive rather than, oh my God, do we have to watch the next one to review sort of thing. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so scores. I think it's me to go first.
You go first, yeah.
I'm going to give this a 6.5.
Okay.
0.5 up on the average that we've been giving it so far. So I think, again, nothing crazy in terms of story. We're still a bit in the dark around the main villain or villains, whoever they turn out to be. Phi-Corp is still a brick wall at the moment. We don't know anything about that still. So a collection of kind of cool scenes, some good character progression, and I really like the Mission Impossible style sort of scene at the end, which is kind of cool. But other than that, still just a good watch. Not too bad. But yeah, still nothing to get our teeth into yet.
No, not much. Yeah, I'm slightly below you, so I'm a 6 out of 10 on this one. Just as a pretty run of the mill episode with a couple of nice moments and some good action scenes, but nothing special. But yeah, 6 out of 10. It was all right.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so a 6.5 from me and a 6 from you. What did our listeners think? Over on Twitter, we had a few there. Will Sanger says, I rewatched it on Friday and I've already forgotten most of what happened. Very disposable and very little progress seems to have been made. To the overall plot and storyline, the character exploration also feels like an afterthought, which is shoved into the story. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear indeedy. Yes. Owen, Doctor Who Home says, I like the FICORP stuff and the talent agent lady. Plot at least had me interested, but this episode feels like treading water. 6 out of 10, and then goes on to say to add the stuff in the Cardiff. To add the stuff back in Cardiff is good and brings a bit of life to the story. Yes, it does.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
And next, who is next? Sam Anson says, I think this is the point of the series where it begins to lose itself a bit with the beginning of far too many plot threads that we don't really resolve. And lastly, Chippy T says the Dane story continues to annoy and the gang's trying to hide away, but being in plain sight is nuts. There are too easily traced. I like the humanity of Esther's family story and that of Gwen. The tower scenes are nicely tense, if a little too much with Rex's stair run. A 5 from me. And we had just a couple over on Facebook, and these really are short and sweet. This is funny. So one of our writers, Harry, says, Miracle Day, ? More like Poo Day, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Harry.
Harry.
And then lastly, James Walsh says...
That's not the quote you're going to find on the back of the DVD.
No, not at all. Not at all. And then James Walsh says, watching this makes me cry. It's so bad. Please stop and review some decent content. James?
Oh, dear.
I know, dude, but we've got to get through some of the crappy stuff to get to the good stuff, which we hope is coming. Yes. Okay, dude. I think overall this one's like the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you, just middle of the road. Nobody's really shouting it's great. No one's saying it's terrible 1s and 2s, but middle of the road stuff, man. Yeah.
I think one of those reviews pointed out it feels like it's treading water. This whole series so far feels like it's just treading water to get to, well, hopefully the good stuff. I mean, surely this has got to ramp up. The further we get in towards the conclusion to this series, I mean, we'll be at the halfway point by the next episode. But yeah, it does feel like it's treading water. But surely at some point it's got to ramp up. You can't keep just having episodes like this where nothing really happens. You know what I mean? It's like something's got to kick in at some point. I mean, they're, like you said, perfectly watchable, but nothing substantial yet. We're nearly at the halfway point. So yeah,
I'll read you. Okay, so that was Torchwood then. Miracle Day, episode 4, Escape to LA. What have we got next week for review, bud?
Next week we'll be doing some Tom Baker. That was a terrible intro. Some Tom Baker, 4th Doctor, and it's called The Invisible Enemy.
Oh.
Where is he? He's invisible.
Where's he gone?
The Invisible Enemy.
Okie dokie. So that's going to be, there you go, James Walsh over on Facebook. Back to some great Doctor Who next week for review.
I can't remember The Invisible. Is it good? I don't remember that one much.
Well, we're not going to say if
I'm
it
a
is
massive 4th Doctor fan.
Well, of course, yeah. This is, you should know.
Yeah, I can't think which one. I think Invisible Enemy. Anyway, yeah, it'd be good to see a bit of Tom.
A little bit of Tom. Yes, right. Let's wrap there, dude. Then for 357.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for coming back and listening to the Big Blue Box podcast for another week. That was 357. And thank you so much to those of you that sent in your tweets and your Facebook messages with your reviews and so on. Very much appreciated for that. Next week, as Adam said, we are back to the 4th Doctor era for some classic Who with The Invisible Enemy. So get your DVDs or your BritBox fired up because we'll be asking for your thoughts and your scores out of 10 as always. So that's your homework for the week. Get The Invisible Enemy watched. In the meantime, make sure you follow or subscribe to this podcast on your fave podcast app. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box, you'll find us on there. That way you won't miss a show when it lands every Friday. Or head over to the website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our eps on there for free as well. Plus, you can check out all of the reviews and articles from our writers. Those guys are so cool. Grab yourself a drink and read through all of that. We're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Links are on the website. Head over there, give us a like and a follow, and chat Doctor Who throughout the week between episodes. And lastly, we also have a free Discord server, so hop into that. There's a link on the website and come and chat Doctor Who with lots of other cool Who fans. And before we go, don't forget to remember.
Don't forget to remember.
Go and check out Adam's channel over on YouTube. It is, of course, The Geek's Handbag.
The Geek's Handbag, yes. Plenty of videos over there. Go and have a look. I'm also on all the socials. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.
and Twitter. Yeah, can have a butcher's. Go and check Adam's stuff out. Very cool. Grab a drink. Hours and hours of content on there, so go and do that. Okay, until next week. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember... Easy.